It is Bronze and Modern Gods. I'm John. That guy over there is Richard. Richard!
Hi, John. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Lots of stuff this week. I say that every episode. I say lots of stuff this week. You know why?
It's a busy hobby.
There is lots of stuff. Exactly. Our underrated books of the week, 25-year rule for you good girl art fans or doll collectors. There's a teaser. Plus, we've got our main topic, which is Free Comic Book Day preview. What's coming for Free Comic Book Day? Wait, isn't that in April?
Yeah, it's usually in May.
Oh, isn't that in May?
Yeah.
Why is it happening Saturday, August 14th this year?
You know, that's a good question. I don't have the answer.
Me neither, but we're going to talk about it because there's some interesting stuff going on with it. Some good, some possibly shady things. We'll see. We'll discuss that. But first, if you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, it's a Bronze and Modern Gods. Beep, 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 beep. I'm not going to waste your time with that. I will say, can you like this video? Can you subscribe to this video? Can you hit the notification bell? Why not? What's wrong with you? You seem to be able to do it last week. Do it. All right, Richard, let's get into it. What is our hot book of the week this week?
This week, our hot book is Detective Comics 850.
What?
It's the first appearance of the Gotham City Sirens, which is Catwoman, Harley Quinn, and of course, Poison Ivy.
So Gotham City Sirens, if you're not aware of what's going on, there are a lot of rumors swirling about a potential movie. There is a placeholder page on the imdb.com website. Anybody can create a placeholder page. So, you just be careful here. But this is an interesting part of an interesting run of Detective. They had those really cool painted covers that were almost monochrome, black and white for a long time there. And great Paul Dini stories. As you know, Paul Dini's the guy that created Harley Quinn. And it wasn't New 52 yet, so there weren't huge orders on these Detective Comics titles. You just had your Batman hardcores reading it at that point. So not an easy book in 9.8. I'm guessing the last sale though was this week for $115. Raws can still be had for about $25 on the Bay.
No, this is an interesting book. I think the combination of Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and Catwoman is intriguing. I'm just not really seeing, given the current DCEU, seeing those three characters popping up anytime soon in a movie. I'd love to see it, don't get me wrong, but I think the odds are pretty slim that we're going to see anything in the next few years.
Who would be Catwoman? Who would be
Right.
Poison Ivy? You're going to get Uma Thurman to come back. You're going to get Michelle Pfeiffer to come back. Michelle Pfeiffer, by the way, looks like she's skydiving now, if you've seen her. It's pretty intense. But God bless her. So yeah, it's weird that there seems to be a lot of spec on this book. A lot of increase in sales over the past week. I've seen it a few places. I just thought it was interesting to flag this one.
No, it is. I think it's been a book in demand for quite some time now, without any real solid information or solid evidence that anything is going to come of it. So who knows? I mean, we got Deadpool out of fan requesting and demand, right? So maybe we'll get something similar. But I think, like you say, we'll need to fill the role of Catwoman and Poison Ivy in a previous property before we get to this combo movie.
Fill the what of Catwoman? I'm sorry. So I also pulled this one out because pulled it out. Sorry. All right, let me try this again. I also selected this because I found it in a dollar bin. And I got it for $1. So there's copies bopping around out there. Luckily the shop owner did not look it up on eBay and change the price on me. I would have said, sure. No, I would not have. They're out there. So go digging in some boxes, people. Let's move on to our main topic this week, Free Comic Book Day preview. If you're not aware, Free Comic Book Day this year is coming up Saturday, August 14th. If you are new to the hobby, and there are some people that are, Free Comic Book Day is an event that happens every year, usually in May, like we said, that tries to get people interested in the hobby that necessarily aren't going to comic book shops every week. You can only get these books in comic shops, physical comic shops. And it's just what it says on the tin. You go in and you go get some free comic books. Kind of like when Best Buy used to sell CDs at the front of the store for cheap price. So you'd go in and buy a refrigerator. Uh, that kind of concept. Lost leaders.
Yeah, it's definitely something that to draw in new readers. So a lot of these books are targeted towards a younger audience because they're trying to foster a love of comics in an audience that may not be able to afford on a regular basis $4 or $5 comic books. So this gives them an intro into the hobby and gives them an opportunity to really develop a love for holding and reading a physical comic book. And over the years, several of these free comic book day books have become valuable and have a real following. Umbrella Academy, for example, from
Yeah,
2017.
that's probably the biggest example in recent years.
Yes, and the one thing about these books I want to bring up is in a number of these books, and almost all of them, I think, at this point, there is a white box where the comic book store will stamp the book with their particular, their stamp that has the comic book company or store name and the address, telephone number, all that information. That stamp, if you try to get the book graded, will result in a qualified grade. So you're really looking to get the book before they're stamped by the LCS.
Yeah, that was a bit of a heartbreaker for me. I found a copy of Umbrella Academy free comic book day and got it for what I thought was a decent price. Opened it up. Not only was there a sticker on the inside front cover, it covered the entire inside front
Oh,
cover.
no.
It wasn't just like a little sticker. It was like, oh, bleh. Luckily, the shop was great, and they were like, "Oh crap, we didn't know about that. Sorry," and they got me a refund. So yeah, always be on the lookout for those stickers and store stamps. There are some books coming out. To your point, a lot of them are geared towards younger readers, like paper cuts and some Archie stuff and things like that, which is great. We always need fresh blood in the hobby, but there are some books out there that for free comic book day that I'm like, huh? What are you trying to achieve here? Probably the number one big for me is a free comic book day edition of Red Room, the feel good book of the summer from Fantagraphics. With ultra violence and very gory. Hey kids, comics. Come get your free copy of Red Room. So your local comic book store can be on the local news for giving this to minors. I hope that doesn't happen.
I'm sure the comic book stores will have those separated from the bulk of the book.
Why would you do a free comic book day edition of Red Room?
I have no idea.
I mean, Fantagraphics, I love you, but maybe not well thought out. Uh, Also, among that kind of sense, your first pick is right in there.
Right. My first pick is House of Slaughter. This is a backstory for Something is Killing the Children. It's
Hey, kids,
uh,
comics.
yeah. This book is has been highly anticipated. That the It's a lead into the House of Slaughter series that's just starting. It's already at $10 in the secondary market. I mean, these books again are free,
Okay,
and they are already showing up on eBay for $10.
how is this book $10 already with pictures on eBay? This book you're saying is already selling for $10 on eBay, and they're not just, scans grabbed off the internet of the cover. I've seen actual images of the book already selling on eBay. So, what does this mean, Richard?
Who has access to the books before they are available on Free Comic Book Day?
Maybe a comic shop that is just pulling them aside and selling them on eBay instead of giving them away. That's kind of gross.
Yeah, that's true. I wish I could say this is a new practice, but this has happened several times in my experience. The comic book stores will actually pick a quantity of their inventory that they're given for Free Comic Book Day, and especially the more valuable ones, the ones that are more in demand, and we'll sell them, at a retail price. It's
I
it,
get it.
it
You got to shop. You want to make money. You want to maximize. But guys, I'm talking to you dealers right now. Me and you, eye to eye, comic book dealer. Wait until after free comic book day. Why are you doing it so everybody knows?
right, right. And
I,
another thing, dealers, if you could do me a favor, don't let people pick up a stack of 10 of these books and walk to the counter and take them. These are meant to be given out to individuals on an individual basis to promote comic books. So to me, that means don't let the scalpers come in and clean you out of inventory of any title. Again, after Free Comic Book Day, all bets are off. But
yeah,
during that, on that day, let's make it a one book per person limit for these books, so that we don't see someone on eBay selling a stack of 20 of them.
we
Um,
we see the same thing in the music industry for record store day. Stores get a certain allotment that they can order, but some stores just hold back the inventory, throw it on eBay at an increased price, and fans who are waiting in line just miss out. And it's gross. It's gross. I mean, you can argue with me all you want, but it's gross.
right, right. It defeats the purpose of the whole event, which is, spreading goodwill from the comic book industry to the fans,
New
and
read.
trying and new readers, right? Bring those new readers on, because they will serve you better if you bring on a new reader than making $5 or $10 off of one of these books.
So, speaking of these books selling for big money already on the secondary market, Stray Dogs. This is already a hot book. This should bring even more people on board who were hesitant to give it a try because of the concept. I mean, maybe they thought it was a kid's book. They didn't get what was going on with these horror homage covers with these cartoon Disney dogs on the front. Here's a chance for them to sample it. Or maybe not, because it's already selling on eBay for $20, $25. So good luck finding the Stray Dog free comic book store they thingamabob.
Yeah, I have to say, if because of these books already pre-selling for these amounts, get there early. If your comic book store opens at noon, showing up at 1 o'clock is going to mean you're probably going to miss out on some of these books.
Isn't that a bummer though that we have to tell people that?
It really is, but it's a fact of the market at this point. Someone can show up at one of these comic book stores with not a penny in his pocket and walk out with $100 worth of comic books if he does it correctly. So of course there's going to be people who want these books. So I recommend showing up. Well, you have two choices: make an arrangement with your LCS to put it in your pull box. So if you already have a pull list with your LCS, they will probably be more than happy to make sure you get a copy of the ones that you want.
Mhm.
Otherwise, show up early. Show up half an hour or hour early to the comic book store, because there most likely will be a line, and you'll be in a position to get those books that are showing up on this list. My next book, for example, is Star Wars High Republic, which is the Edge of Balance. And Star Wars High Republic has had more legs than I originally thought it would. I thought it was kind of derivative, but people really like the storylines. And the book, there's the free comic book day book, already is on eBay, and it's selling around $6. So if you're a fan of the High Republic and you like being a completionist, which I know a lot of us are, this is a book that you're going to want to pick up.
The next pick for me is, a perennial. It seems to be every year. Spider-Man always has an issue for free comic book day. This one is Spider-Man Venom, just like last year. Remember last year when the bungled first appearance of Virus was in the Spider-Man Venom free comic book day? Uh, Normally I would say, the Marvel free comic book day stuff is, kind of fly by night. There's not a lot of meaning behind it. However, Marvel in the recent years have really gone out of their way, especially with the Spider-Man free comic book day stuff, to have very meaningful stories and the first
Mhm,
appearances of characters like Jackpot, I think was Mr. Negative first.
mhm.
Yeah.
In
So
2007 Free Comic
yeah.
Book Day, yeah.
So they're worth picking up and just, holding on to it and seeing what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And again, there's no risk. I mean, it costs you $0, hopefully.
Well, let's
So
go on eBay.
unless you have to go on eBay. So yeah, definitely pick up these books. My next choice is a title that I really enjoyed from this year. It's We Live,
Very
and
so
this
good.
is
So
yeah,
good.
yeah, for the last days. This is a great story, great art. It's just an all around. It builds a world that is so vibrant and real from the story. I highly recommend We Live as a series. This book is in the We Live universe. It's selling for about $5 online right now. But if you get an opportunity, I have obviously have not read any of these books, but I think that this is going to be a really really interesting read.
So that's just our few picks for free comic book day. I really hope you guys get there and get what you want without getting gouged. I'm not going to go and pontificate too much more on this, but it's a bummer to me.
No, it's whenever money is involved, things like this happen, and you have two choices. You can be angry about it, or you can accept the fact that it's going to be this way and work within the system as it develops. And I choose to, I want some of these books for my collection, so that means I'll be there early, or I'll talk to my LCS and have them put it aside. I'm not happy about it, but it's the way the world works right now.
Hey, if you do miss out, just wait. I'm going to put them up on eBay on Sunday night, and you can. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. I don't have a segue this week for one of my favorite things, and that is the 25-year rule. Okay, who cares? Let's just get right into it. The 25-year rule this week is focused on Barbie number 63. Insert laughter from Richard here.
Hey, I'm looking at the cover. That's a very interesting cover.
This was the last issue of the Marvel Comics run for Barbie that lasted just over 5 years. There were no books for girls at that time. So this Barbie and its companion title, Barbie Fashion, I had a shop when those first started. We sold a ton of Barbie and Barbie Fashion when it first started, because the family would come in, the little boys, and the adult dad would go running towards the superhero books, and the poor girls, this is before My Little Pony and everything was being done by IDW and people like that. They just had Barbie. When the boy child is buying books, you got to get the girl child something. You can't get one kid a bike for Christmas and sell the other kid A. It's great. So Barbie sold really well at first, enough to sustain it for 5 years. I'm sure it sold great on the newsstand too. This last issue has a very cool flying hero Barbie cover, which is based on an actual Barbie doll they released in 1995. Flying Hero Barbie. Go hit eBay.
Wow.
Yes. This is a run that has a rabid fan base that are outside the normal comic book collecting community. When I would do shows, I would put up a copy of Barbie and Barbie Fashion #1 that came polybagged with like a little prize inside. Bam, they'd be gone in an hour. Small print runs. The ones you can find have been read to death by little girls and probably 10% of little boys across the nation. And what's interesting in this last issue, very tough last issue, 0 copies on the CGC census.
Wow.
Yeah, but raws sell for about $10 to $12 when you can find them. It's a tough book.
Oh, I love this. I never really thought about it, but you're right. Of all the books that I remember growing up, were focused on boys, and really there was such a small list of books targeted to young women. That's impressive.
Back then in 90s, late 80s, you could say, oh, Wonder Woman's for girls. Yeah, the cheesecake and everything, the bondage,
Yeah, bondage. Yeah.
really for girls. Sorry. But it's funny how things have changed for the better. There's a lot more selection
Mhm.
for everyone. But boy, back then it was Barbie or nothing, girl. Too bad. So uh, Speaking of cheesecake, lots of cheesecake covers in this run. However, some of these swimsuit covers with Barbie sell for 30, $40 a pop. So there are some real pervs out there, Richard.
Why are you looking at me?
All right, it is time for our underrated books of the week. Richard, what do you have?
My book is something that I'm looking at, picking books that have a low barrier of entry that I think have some potential. And one of the characters out there that seems to be getting some interest is Squirrel Girl. So my pick is Marvel Superheroes the Winter Special Edition from 1991. If you're trying to look it up on the census, it's Marvel Superheroes number 8. It took me a good 30 minutes to track it down. Um, it is the first appearance of Squirrel Girl. I didn't realize until I was doing research into it, the first appearance was drawn by Steve Ditko and story by Will Murray.
It sure was. Steve at the end of his Marvel career. This book, Marvel Superheroes, the specials, it was a quarterly book that just basically collected a whole bunch of inventory of finished stories that were sitting in the files that for one reason or another never got to print. Like we featured the first appearance of Rogue was in a couple of issues of Ms. Marvel that were sitting in a drawer for years since 1978. They finally saw print in this title. So there's a lot of Steve Ditko in this title. I think almost every issue at the beginning has some sort of Steve Ditko inventory story because God bless him. He was a founding father of the Marvel Universe, and they always gave him work. Even if it wasn't going to see print, they wanted to make sure that Steve Ditko had work.
Mm-hmm. And that's commendable. The story here is interesting. I chalk it up. First appearances aren't always grand entrances like Doctor Doom. Sometimes they're characters that you don't really expect them to take off. This is interesting character. For those who don't know, Squirrel Girl is a lighthearted character, and I think that it has some potential to kind of counterbalance some of the heaviness that is showing up in the MCU and in the coming phases. So there's some potential for her actually showing up in some kind of property in the MCU. Her power is the ability to control squirrels. Not exactly if I had my checklist of powers that I would want, but according to one of the watchers, she actually defeated Thanos. So somehow,
here's the joke at Squirrel Girl. Her first appearance here that we're talking about, she defeats Doctor Doom. She actually helps Iron Man defeat Doctor Doom with the help of squirrels, of course. And it's not to be taken seriously. It never was. And so the running gag in each appearance for Squirrel Girl is that she progressively defeats a bigger and bigger menace until we get to Thanos.
Yeah, it's awesome. If you're a fan of like Gwenpool is another character that I think is a tongue in cheek kind of character, then Squirrel Girl is in that kind of that ilk. So she's tries to balance a normal life with superhero powers, and she becomes a member of the Great Lakes Avengers and has all kinds of adventures with other Marvel characters, as well as her own solo story. So definitely a cool book, I think, and it's something to pick up. You can find it for raw on eBay for less than $100, $80, 90 bucks. The GPA for it, a 90-day GPA, is $488, and there are about 362 of these 9.8s on the census. So right now, I think it's a great time if you're interested in a character that is unique in the MCU. This is a great time to pick up those first appearances, and this book is on the top of my list.
I will say 9.8s of this are tough because it wasn't a reprint title, but it was basically inventory, like Marvel fanfare. It wasn't consequential. Things did not happen to affect continuity in any long-term way in this title normally. So people didn't save it. It was always dollar bin stuff after a while. So this book is tough at 9.8. But people love Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl.
People love people who don't take themselves seriously,
Yeah.
and that's why Deadpool is so popular,
Yeah.
and Gwenpool, and no characters like that. So there is definitely a market for this character.
Yep. Okay. Speaking of markets for characters, mine, I'm shocked it's not a bigger book. I really am. It is Doom Patrol number 19. This is the first issue of the Grant Morrison Richard Case run that was just one of the more influential comic book runs of the Copper Age. It's also the first appearance of Crazy Jane, who people love on the Doom Patrol TV series. They loved her in the comic book. Richard, you were reading this title along with me in the late 80s. With HBO Max, the show is going into season number 3. I'm just amazed this book has not taken off like other TV related titles.
I am too. But I'm also surprised that Titans isn't having more effect on the market than it is as well. So TV shows don't seem
DC Comics Presents 26 is moving up.
true. But I think with the popularity of the Titan show going into its 3rd season as well now, you would think it would see more movement.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe is it a DC thing? I don't know. I think in this book, the fact that it's not a number 1 really works against it. If they had
Right.
relaunched it as a number 1, this would be a $500 book right now, a $500 book. You can still get good looking raws for about $30. There are only 72 9.8s on the census.
Wow, that is really thin.
And a 12-month GPA for a 9.8 is just around $200. So it's very affordable. The first appearance of Mr. Nobody and the Brotherhood of Dada in issue 25, also still affordable for as major a character in the group of villains that is. We're going to see the Sisterhood of Dada in season 3 with a lot of those characters ported over. So a lot of runway on this title, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know why Doom Patrol really has not. I mean, it's a popular title, but it's I would say lukewarm compared to the Marvel titles of its era.
Yeah, who's to say? Is it too weird for people? Do they not know that the issue 19 of an 80s run was the first appearance for a lot of this stuff? Many things could be factoring into this. It's interesting to me that this book just kind of sits there. All right, that's gonna do it for us. I love when newscasters say that's gonna do it for us tonight. What are you being taken out and shot? What's going on?
This is our farewell song.
I know we're gonna be taken out. If you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, please do so at Bronze and Modern Gods. Like this video, subscribe, give us some love. We love all you. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for everything you guys are doing. We love it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for participating. That's what we really enjoy.
And good luck. What do they say in the Hunger Games? May the force be with you. Is that it?
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's not "May the Force be with you."
Oh, for Free Comic Book Day,
may luck always be in your favor. So.
There you go. May luck always be in your favor. Make sure you don't trample anybody on your way to get those stray dogs. Okay, just be nice, people. We will see you next time.
Yes, everybody, stay safe.